Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It must be time to start. There's no one in the foyer talking, chatting. I'm Tim Wright and delighted to have you here. And do we need to cut down the echo some? Andy, can we do anything about that? No, we can't? Okay. You just have to listen to me. I'm delighted that you're here. Thank you for being here for the 2025 annual meeting of Unity Church of the Hills members. We will start with a prayer, a pray-in. Reverend David, can we call on you for that?
So I invite us all to settle in, take a breath, bring your full attention and awareness into this now moment. As you take that conscious breath, breathe your attention into your heart. And with every breath, just imagine your heart opening wider and wider and wider. As you come fully into this now moment, we embrace each other in our hearts. We embrace all who have come before us. We're so grateful for the legacy of Unity Church of the Hills and all who had a part in bringing us to this point. And we're so grateful for all who are here now. We're grateful for all who will be coming to be a part of this beautiful ministry. And as we gather today, we gather here today, we open our hearts in gratitude. Gratitude for what has come before, and gratitude for what is now, and gratitude for what will be. And so we be fully present right here, right now, as we share, as we learn, as we grow, and as we give thanks for each other, for this place, for unity, and for Unity Church of the Hills. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you very much. That's your first pray-in for a Unity Church of the Hills annual meeting. Great things await. That's wonderful. An official announcement that the number of people here in this meeting today for Unity Church of the Hills constitute a quorum for the decisions that we will need to make. When one tree falls in the forest, can anyone hear it clapping? The next thing that we have on the agenda is to approve the minutes for the 2024 annual meeting. Does anyone want to move that we accept those minutes? We have a motion that we accept the minutes. Is there a second? I see a second from Terry Wright. All those in favor, we can do this by a raise of hands. All those in favor? I see a unanimous raising of hands. And those minutes are then accepted. Thank you all very, very much. That moves us to what is perhaps most exciting on our agenda for today, for me anyway, the election of new trustees. Sylvia Powell has done a marvelous job of leading the nominating team. She and that nominating team deserve more than just the one hand clapping, so that's very good. Thank you all very much. Sylvia, it is yours.
Well, I don't need to introduce myself, but I would like to introduce the rest of the nominating team, and that includes Ellen Fannin, Lindy Stasiak, and Heidi Gudelman as the board representative to the nominating committee. The mission of the nominating team, in accordance with our bylaws, is to identify and vet potential candidates for the Board of Trustees and to present the candidates at the annual meeting. Beginning in early September and continuing through mid-October, we provided a candidate recommendation period where members of the congregation were encouraged to volunteer or recommend other individuals for the board positions. Once the team received names, we confirmed their eligibility and continued with the vetting process, where potential candidates were asked to complete a questionnaire. This year, we added something to the vetting process that our board representative, Heidi Gudelman, recommended. This provided an opportunity for potential candidates to ask what is involved in working on the board as a group instead of as in individual interviews. We figured this would allow them to get more information than you can think of in one interview. We also changed the video process a little bit. In the past, we've provided biographies online and introduction. This year, we drafted 5 questions that we wanted each candidate to address so that everybody was addressing the same points. The nominating team would like to thank all of those who recommended and participated in the process. We know that you gave your recommendations serious consideration. We would also like to thank those who made the recommendations. This church belongs to the membership, and it takes an active membership to make it successful. 2 weeks ago, we announced the candidates and posted those videos from each of them on the website. I hope you had a chance to view them. Before I officially place the names of the candidates into nomination, we'd like to thank the 2 board members who are completing their 3-year terms on the Board of Trustees. They are Tim Wright, who served as board president over the past 3-year period, and Neil Feiereisel, who served as vice president for the same period. Tim and Neil, on behalf of the 2025 nominating team and the congregation, we are so grateful to you for your service and dedication to the community. Thank you for giving of your time and your heart to this work. As representative of the nominating team, it is my pleasure to present to you the candidates for election to the Board of Trustees. Our team believes these candidates provide the experience, skills, and perspectives to help guide our church forward. Both of these candidates have demonstrated a strong commitment to our mission, vision, and core values, as well as a willingness to serve with integrity, collaboration, and dedication. On behalf of the 2025 Nominating Committee, I am proud to place the following candidates in nomination: Charles Davis and Kay Martin. We are deeply grateful for their willingness to serve and to everyone who has supported the process. Does anybody have any questions for me or for one of the candidates? Oh, Reverend David was also on the team when he came, and before he arrived, Reverend Cynthia was on the team. So we worked closely together in the process. Do you have any further questions? All right, I'm done then.
I don't want to step on your toes, but does anyone have any questions for Charles or Kay? Or Charles or Kay, is there anything that you would like to share? I know it's putting you on the spot. It's a surprise kind of a thing. And Ellen's looking at you like, surely they don't. Thank you, Charles.
didn't realize my voice was that. I'm sorry.
It's Ellen doing her Phil Donahue imitation.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. I've been a member of the church now for 2+ decades, and many friends I see here. And I just want to tell you how much I have loved being a part of this community, how I want the future to be as bright and as loving and welcoming to other people as I have felt, and I know the other members here have felt, and that's what I want to continue.
Ellen, I believe you have a motion.
On behalf of the nominating team, I would like to move that we we elect these two candidates by acclamation, and because I am a member of the nominating team, my motion does not require a second.
Some people never lose their punch. Thank you, Ellen. And so we have a motion that does not require a second, that we elect by acclamation these two candidates, Kay and Charles. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Wonderful. So we have these two new members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kind of now we move backwards in terms of going through the process of electing members of our nominating committee team for 2026. And I've asked Neil, who knows that much better than I do, to take over.
So now we're shifting gears a little bit. We're talking about next year. So we're nominating members of the nominating team that will start next summer and fall to select the board members or run the process for the following year. And so I'll just, Sylvia already mentioned some of this, but I'll just quickly recap the process. So what will happen is at next year's what we're doing is actually we're going to select 2 members for the nominating team plus an alternate. So we need 3 people. So we need at least 3 nominees and, or more. And so then what happens is the following year, the minister, a board member who is not up for re-election, plus those the 2 members that are elected right now, they will start the nominating team next summer, and then they will select a 5th person, a 5th member among the congregation to join them. If one of those 2 are unable to serve, when we start the process next summer, then the alternate will fill in their space. And so that's how the process works. And then in order for someone to be nominated to be on the nominating team next year, they need to be a member of UCOH for at least 1 year at this point, a regular financial supporter and regular attendee of the church, one who supports unity principles, actively supports the mission, vision, values, and the policies and bylaws of the church, and also one who has the available time and the willingness to attend the meetings of the nominating team. And then finally says no member of the nominating team can be an employee of the church other than the senior minister, and the members of the nominating team themselves are not barred from becoming a nominee for the board. So it's, because really what the nominating team is doing is running the process and passing them on for election at the annual meeting. So with that being said, we'll do the voting part after we get the nominees. So at this point, I open the floor for nominations for next year's nominating team. You can nominate yourself, or you can nominate somebody else.
Sylvia Powell.
Do you accept, Sylvia? Okay, Sylvia Powell.
I'd like to nominate Jack Frick.
Jack, would you be willing to serve? Yes, I would. Okay, Jack Frick. Who else? Tina? Yes, you can. Cindy, would you be willing to serve next year? Okay. There was a little bit of a hesitation here. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Okay.
I'd take the Ellen Fannin approach, and I'd like to nominate myself.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Adrian Wan.
Okay, Adrian, would you be willing to serve? Okay. Okay. Any other nominations? All right. Well, while you're thinking, I'll give you one last chance in a second. Let me share the process that we're going to do in a minute here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the nominees come up on the stage so we can just remember, put a face to a name. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask the nominees to then go backstage while we do a hand vote. And so then what we'll do is I've already asked Michael Ray and Ellen Fannin to do the counting. And so we'll go through each nominee, one after the other, and then raise your hand. And you'll have to keep your hand up until the counters say they're done, because they'll need to do their own count and then agree and make sure they have the same count. And so we'll also, Tracy is up there on the second floor, so make sure you don't miss her. And then the board members also will vote, so make sure you two also count, and even Andy back there. So anybody, make sure we catch everybody. And if you are a member, obviously you can vote. If you're not a member, this is on the honor system, just then don't raise your hand for any candidates. Are there any questions about the process? Oh, you can vote for 3. So we need 3 people, so limit your votes to 3. Thanks, good question. Ellen? We will assume that those 5 candidates will vote for themselves, but you're right, we don't know how they're going to vote for others. You just complicated things. Okay. Yeah, I guess, so Ellen, your responsibility will be to tear up this piece of paper, or find a piece of paper and give each of the 5 nominees a little piece of paper to vote with. And they will vote for 3 candidates each. Okay. Somebody's getting some papers. Good. We're almost there. Okay. Yes. Okay. Eric Parthay, where are you, Eric? Are you willing to serve? Oh, Eric's up there too. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Eric Parthay is added to the list. Now, Eric, you're going to have to run down shortly just when we do the little parade of nominees. Okay. Oh, so the question from Linda is how does it get decided which board member serves on the committee? So every year, roughly early summer, the bylaws say we need to start this process 6 months before the annual meeting, that the board selects one of them that is not up for re-election to serve on the nominating team. And it comes down to who's willing to volunteer to do it, or, the board collectively votes on and decides who will represent them on the board, or on the nominating team. Any other questions about the process? Yes, Nina. We could do this on paper, but then it would take a lot more time. Are you thinking that raising hands seems a little obvious, like who's voting for who? Is that a concern? Yeah. So that is the way we've done it for the last several years. It is more of a time-saving mechanism. Well, you know what? Okay, so we're doing this on the honor system. And so if you would prefer not to raise your hand and you want to vote for 3 candidates, you can write that down on a piece of paper and then personally deliver that to Ellen or Michael, and they'll add that into their vote count. And then the 2 of them have to agree, and then they're going to provide the final list. Okay, so then what we'll do is we can move on to the next phase of the meeting. But however, let's just have, I don't know. Okay, when you've gathered enough papers and cut them up, whatever, then we'll continue this process. Perfect. Okay. Tim, what is the next item on the agenda? This thing is falling apart. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I'm stalling for time. We now go into the ministry reports. There's a change in that. We are to the point where it says election of nominating team, which we are putting on hold for the moment and moving into ministry updates. Reverend David.
Well, as you might suspect, since I've only been here about 6 weeks, I don't have a great deal to report about what happened in the past year. I just will report how grateful I am to be here and how grateful I am for your love and welcome and support and helping me to feel like I belong here. And so I appreciate that. I'm so happy to be here and grateful to be here. So thank you for that. So what I want to share with you today is a little bit more about what my ideas are for the future, or my hopes and dreams are for a little bit about the future. And I kind of separated them. I'm not going to talk a long time, but just want to give you a broad view of some of the things that I would like for us to focus on and some of the things that I will be focusing on in the new year. Primarily, I would be growing and expanding our unity consciousness. And that involves some classes and workshops. I may be facilitating some. I will be inviting others to facilitate some. We will bring in outside presenters to help for that as well, specifically with EQ, SQ, prosperity, unity consciousness, things that I believe that will help us to grow and expand our consciousness, because what we teach in unity is that life is consciousness. And when our consciousness expands, then we know that we draw into that energy, like those who are looking for that space. Sunday morning services, we're, as you can see, trying to tweak it a little bit, changing up things here and there. So trying to tweak the flow so it flows a little more easily and effortlessly. I'm going to be inviting in some guest musicians as well. I have invited some guest musicians in. We have one scheduled for next year. So trying to expand that a little bit. One of my primary areas of focus, I believe, needs to be our youth and family ministry. I met with Lindy and Katie, and thank you, Lindy and Katie, for all the work that you are doing as volunteers. To lead that program, and to all of you who volunteer in the Youth and Family Ministry program, thank you as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I did meet with Lindy and Katie last week, and they were singing your praises of all the people who volunteer, so thank you for that. And we know that both Lindy and Katie and many others who volunteer have full-time jobs, and so they commit as much time as they possibly can, but I'm going to invite us all to hold the vision for the money to support at least a part-time youth and family ministry director in the new year. I know we eliminated that position because of financial concerns, and there again, if we really want to grow our youth and family ministry, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take our financial commitment and also our time and energy commitment and love commitment as well. So I just want to encourage us all to be focused on that. And that also includes not just the youth, but also families. How can we support families? How can we support parents? How can we support those of you who are caring for aging parents? And all of those sorts of things that we want to focus on with youth and family ministry. Again, I'm just giving you a broad brush here. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Well, I won't go into that. About a consciousness, a unity consciousness, connecting with the community, connecting outside of our walls is something that I want to focus on more this year as well. How do we support each other? How do we get out in the community more? And I love that Anaya has begun and helping to support the Beyond the Arch team. And I would like to see that team grow more and more vibrant and get involved in more things. But also spirit group revitalization, I think, is something I want to focus on this year. I'd like to get involved in that and do more with spirit groups, more social events, things like that. So lots of things happening, lots of ideas, lots of intentions, and lots of things to focus on. But I just want to invite us all to participate in that. We all have gifts and talents to share, and it does require us to get involved and to commit ourselves. Time, talent, treasure, and to support this community with our gifts and tithes and offerings. And I know many of you are very generous in doing so, and it does require that. So we have lots of things we want to do, yeah, a lot of those things take money. So I invite you to consider that as well in your giving. So thank you again, and look forward to more to come.
Where did Neil go? Oh, okay. There he comes. Run. I'm going to suggest, Neil, that we go ahead and do the vote. Bring up the candidates now and do the voting.
Okay, so Tracy's typing as we speak, and she's going to get the names up on the screen. But will the 6 candidates please come forward onto the stage? Sylvia Powell, Jack Frick, Cindy Wright, Cliff Mark, Adrian Wan, and Eric Parthay. And if you could line up in that order. Sylvia, well, just so that people can put a face to a name, because that's right in front. Okay. So Sylvia, then Jack, then Cindy, Cliff, Adrian, and Eric. Okay, the crowd really wants you to be in front. Yep. Okay. Sylvia, Jack, Cindy, Cliff, Adrian, and Eric. Okay. And just wanted to put names to faces. And Tracy, are you going to be able to get that up there? Or? Okay. And so, you remember you're voting for 3 candidates. Okay, and then, Ellen and Michael are collecting the ballots with baskets from the back, so. The names, okay, I think it's a little challenging to switch things. Oh, there we are, we got it. Okay, so the names are up on the screen. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay, then. Hopefully you know them, but now they're in the order up on the screen. And what we'll do after the ballots are collected, then we'll continue with the meeting as Ellen and Michael go do the count. We'll announce the results afterwards. Okay, are there any questions? Go ahead. Wait, what's the question? Pardon me? Oh, Ellen, we've got 2 people that did not get ballots, Jody and Nana. Did anybody else not receive a ballot? Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, nominees. You can be seated. We'll let you know the vote count later in the meeting.
I'm puzzling Neil over the fact that that may be your last act as vice president of the board, unless we think of something in the next few minutes. Next on the agenda, you see his picture and his smiling face in a chair, Greg Sedlock, our treasurer.
Okay, so my financial update is going to be a little different than what some of you used to seeing in a financial report. I mean, a lot of people like to see balance sheets and income statements and all that. There's going to be some graphs and comparisons to last year and projections for the rest of the year. If you want to see that kind of stuff, I've got a supplemental report. More than happy to hand it to you. So, but what I want to do is go through it at a fairly high level, comparing last year to this year. And if you want to put the title slide up. Tracy? Or Eric, Tracy? Okay, next one. Okay, thank you. So I want to go through about a half dozen topics. Endowment fund, where we are at operating cash. We've been informally calling that our checking account. Where we are with gifts and tithes compared to last year and where we're going. The net income that we've got for last year and compared to this year. Then some takeaways and what's going to happen next. So the next slide is the endowment fund. It really provides us with long-term funding for the congregation. I hope everybody's kind of familiar with what an endowment fund is. We've got about $317,000 in that fund right now. It's grown about $35,000 this year, which is kind of pretty good. And one of the things that it's doing, there's a certain percentage, about 4 to 5%, that we take out of that balance every year to fund facilities projects. So for this year, we're going to be able to pull about $13,000 out of that and put it in. So, if you got any questions, why don't we hold till the end, and then I'll answer questions. Okay. So the next one I'm going to talk about is one of our major income. Operating cash. Thank you. I'm looking. I printed my 2 up on my handout here, so I missed one. Okay, so this is the operating cash, or I've called the checking account. And last year we ended up about $80,000 at the end of the year in the checking account. This year, you see that thing really grew, and what grew the checking account was something called the employee retention credit. And that takes a little explaining to do, but it's a program that the federal government had to reimburse companies or organizations that kept staff on during the year when there was COVID, the COVID years. And so we did an application for that, and we've ended up getting like $298,000 so far this year. In spite of the downsizing at the IRS and all the other crazy things that are going on with funding of the federal government. We may get another $9,300, but don't hold your breath, because who knows when that's going to happen. Yeah, it'll rise this year. Yeah, so we're going to end up the year in our checking account probably about $375,000 in our checking account, which is good. This is great. And right now, what that figure doesn't include the $93K that's in what we call our savings account. There's 2 accounts that we work with, major accounts. nonprofits that we work with. So the Finance and Budget Committee's got a job to do, and they've got to figure out what are we going to do with all this money. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of months to figure out just how we want to do that, how much we want to keep in reserve, how much we want to spend on improvements to the facility, how much we think we're going to need next year. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of months. Yes, I'm sitting here listening to him, and now I'm ticking up budget items in my head. Yeah, including. Yeah. So remember the 30-30-30 in September? We did get the matching funds. They came in October and the beginning of November. So thank you for our congregant did our matching funds. So gifts and tithes. Gifts and tithes represents about 69% of our income, which is obviously the biggest chunk of it. Last year, November and December, which is the months we're coming up now, we're in, we got about $133,000. Usually we get more than that at the end of the year. We're asking now for the end of this year to ask for $202,000 for the next couple of months to basically get us to the point where we're matching the income that we're supposed to have as per our lending covenants in our mortgage. Okay. And we're looking for the fact that we have a permanent senior minister as being a major factor. There's no pressure on you, Reverend Dave. No, none whatsoever. Okay. So let's look at our net income for the last 2 years. Last year, we ended up with a net income of a negative $12,000, which no one really wants to be in that position, but unfortunately, that's where we're in. This year, if we get what we're asking for, I think our projected net income should be around $47,000, which is great. Now, it exceeds our mortgage requirement. Mortgage company says we should have at least $31,000, and they don't give you a number. They give you this kind of factor that you're supposed to have, this debt service covenant ratio, and it basically measures how much cash you've got. So that if we hit the $202,000, we're going to be in great shape at the end of the year for that income. So on this one, takeaways. We're in a great cash position. Of the $375,000, $298,000 came from the ERC program. And even though from some months we ran negative on income, we've managed to pay the staff. There have been no payroll issues with respect to staff. There's been no issues with respect to paying the mortgage or any of our bills. We're totally caught up with everything. Okay? Yeah. And meeting our commitment to the lender is really important. And one thing I'm going to mention in a little bit is the fact that, I'll mention now, we've got a mortgage balloon payment coming up in April 1st of 2028 of $1 million. So in the next couple of years, Cliff, no problem, Greg. Easy peasy. Out of petty cash. So one of the factors that a lender uses to evaluate a loan is, do you have the cash flow to support mortgage payments? And in the last few years, we've been drawing down our cash reserve, and we have not met that ratio. I would love to see that turned around in 2025 and 2026 and in 2027, so that when we go to apply for a loan in 2028, we meet the requirements of a commercial lender. So it makes it easier for us to get the loan. Okay. I've got a more detailed report. I do a report to the board every month. I brought copies of it here if someone afterwards wants to see that kind of report that the board sees, which does have the kind of more numbers in it, more comparisons against budget. More than happy to give that to you. So what's next? End of year giving campaign. I mentioned it. I'll keep saying it. $202,000 by the end of the year. There's the prosperity initiative coming in. So that's the number we're looking for. We're going to be working with the staff and with the finance committee to prepare the budget for 2026, both an operating budget and a capital budget. We did some capital spending this year. We did it out of necessity. I think we want to do a little bit more advanced some planning on that. This building is, 20 years old? And 20-year-old buildings need fixing, and they need updating. So we're going to determine what we're going to do with all that cash, and then start planning for the retirement of this $1 million balloon payment that we have in April 1st of 2028. And at the end of January, late January, I'll be coming back to you. I'll have results for 2025. I think we should have the budget ready for 2026, and we'll give you an update then. And Lisa, hey Lisa.
Right, I just wanted to start with a kudos to Greg. When I was board treasurer and Greg was newly appointed to the board, Susan Heinrichs came into the office and said, y'all should look at this ERC thing. My sister's church applied and got some money. That's all we had to go on, ERC thing. So I said to Greg, hey, will you take that? He has spent easily an hour on the phone with the IRS ever since, every month. So it is because of his tenacity in selecting an accounting firm to apply for us, get all the ducks in the row, follow up with the IRS. You know, he may be quiet sometimes, but he got it done. And that is why we're in positive cash flow. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So if we come up with $1 million balloon payment in April, does that mean our mortgage is paid off?
Yes. Yes. So we're going to have to decide as a congregation, how do we want to deal with that? Do we want to have a campaign, a $1 million campaign that finishes by April 1st? So we have no more mortgage? Do we want to go back and refi? What do we want to do? And I don't have an answer for that yet. I know what I would like to see. I'd like to pay it off.
And not to cause panic, we have refied before.
We have refied before.
You know, so this is probably the 5th iteration of a mortgage, something like that, on the different buildings in the property. So the market does allow refi. Of course, it does better if we have the right numbers to present. But we have had the opportunity to refi and been able to go to the market.
A current mortgage balance? Oh, the building? There's a book value on the property, I believe about a little over $4 million, but that's book value. That's not, and you know it's not market value. It's just what the accounting you have to do for the book. So yeah, when we get to the point where we'll be looking at, if we refi, we're going to have, and Cliff, you know more about mortgages than I do. We're going to have to go in and get an assessment and an estimate of what this place is worth, and I'm sure it's worth quite more. Yeah, more than $4 million, a lot more. Yeah, we pay $11,000 a month, and like every mortgage, part of that goes to principal and part of it goes to interest. So yeah, we are. sorry? We are, yeah. 8 years ago, yeah. It's about 1.4 now. About 1.4. Sorry? Yes, yes, yes. That puts it to zero. We pay $1 million, they're happy, and we'll be happy.
Yeah, so when we did the mortgage in 2018, we did a 10-year mortgage, but we amortized it over 20 years. So the bank didn't want to take the risk for the second 20 years. So they said, we'll have you do what looks like a 20-year mortgage, but with a balloon payment at the 10-year mark. So at that balloon payment, we can either refinance with the terms and conditions in the market there, or pay it off, or some combination therein. Okay? I presented it 2 years ago, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Do you know the interest rate? It's a fixed rate. It's,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna say
a
4-ish.
4 point something, 4.25, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say between 4 and 5. Yeah. So market rates are a little higher now. So maybe in 2 years, the market rates will be lower. We'll see where we are. Just a clarification, so operating budgets are things that we use day-to-day, cash flow. A capital budget is something that we pay off over time. So I just signed a, 5-year loan on my car. So my capital budget was what I used to pay the car, and then I'm gonna pay it off over time.
So if we got any questions, I'll be more than happy to. Eric, you want to do a quick question?
Oh, I was just going to say, so it seems like, I mean, no one ever pays the balloon payment, right? That's not really something that you would do. It would just be a matter of refinancing, and the property's probably worth so much that refinancing should be, I mean, straightforward, although interest rate might be high. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it should be. My concern, and I think maybe we could take this one offline, is we need to be able to show that we can have the cash flow to support the mortgage payment. I mean, we need that ratio to be met. It's 1 of 6. I did this thing using Gemini and said, what are the things that a commercial lender looks for? One of the major factors is, do you have the cash flow to pay the mortgage off? And if you don't, then what alternatives do you have? So.
This last year we used 20 amortization schedule going in 10. Can we do a similar thing with this? Pay off $500,000 of it, plus another $500,000 on 20 amortization.
I think they're all options, but we should probably take this one offline. Yeah. Any other kind of high-level questions? High-level questions, yeah. Yeah, see, this guy knows mortgages. That's why he does that. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, the results are in, and so the 2026 nominating team will be led by Sylvia Powell, Cindy Wright, and the alternate will be Eric Partheg. So could the three of you please stand? Sylvia Powell, Cindy Wright, and Eric Partheg as the alternate. Thank you all for being willing to serve.
And thank you all for voting. And thank you all for being here again. I want to talk to you about the board and the boards that I've worked with and this board and what we've accomplished. And I don't remember the order of the slides. Go. There you go. The 2023 board was a wonderful place to start. It went through a very tumultuous year because there was so much going on at the start of 2023. Will the members who are here from 2023's board please stand up? Reverend Cynthia is obviously not here. Lisa, Patty, Laura, Sylvia, Greg, Neil, and myself. You are wonderful. Thank you. If anybody has any questions about the 2023 board after this meeting, ask them. 2024, a lot of the same faces. Those of you who are here from 2024, do the same thing. Stand up, please. You see some meetings of our current board. I'm going to talk about them in a moment. It's going to be fun. And Courtney was not here. Courtney was a member of, but the others are there. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And now let's go to the 2025. It has been fun. Believe it or not, I say to each and every one of you that it has been fun some of the time. It has been love all of the time because of the way all of that I have learned from Unity in the almost 20 years that I've been here and all that you demonstrated. And I am grateful for that. I also want to share with the members here what I've learned from you and about you with a grain of salt. When you love people, being with people, getting to know people, you love meetings, you love gatherings of people, and you love frequent meetings, and you love long meetings. We celebrate that in, he knows, Neil. Neil is a meeting-ophile, a lover of meetings. You've heard from Greg, and Greg did indeed. We would all like to be able to give Greg credit for all of that good financial stuff happening. He did contribute to it because he kept the board informed, a lot of which was over my head. Business is a critical complement to the spiritual essence of a ministry. And Greg brought to the board his business acumen and his dedication to staying businesslike in the board meetings. And between his and Loretta's almost monthly cruises to hear the blues, he made most of the meetings. They did host a gathering for the board last night. It was great fun. Wonderful to be at their house. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Greg. You can see I'm not necessarily going in the order in which they're sitting. Heidi as a first-year member of the board, Heidi was intent on learning all she could in order to serve well as a board member. She must have learned a heck of a lot because she served superbly as a board member from my perspective, and I think everyone else's. But she finally realized that in the 3-year term for a board member is not nearly long enough to learn all one needs to know. You would agree that you haven't learned all you need. That's what I thought. So Matt, sitting next to Heidi, who is also a first-year member of the board, has relied on his spiritual strength and faith to balance the time and energy being on the board with being the #1 fan of his son Shadi's soccer team. And the results of last night's game are not in any way challenging Sameh's faith or spiritual strength. I spoke with Shadi this morning. He said it was a good game, but the results were not as planned. Dan is one of the most senior members of Unity Church of the Hills on the board. He blends skills as superb meditator and teacher of meditation, a doctor of chiropractic, and an electrical engineer, and I'm impressed that he has yet to get his wires crossed. Joni and I talk on the phone a lot, more than frequently. I'll text and ask, can you talk for a few minutes? And she'll reply, in 15 minutes, I'll call you. I've learned not to sit by the phone after 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But Joni has never been late for a board meeting. That's what I love. Now, as Reverend David didn't have a lot to say in his first board minister presentation to an annual meeting, I want to start by talking about what the board did in terms of our receiving as a blessing from Spirit, a new minister. First of all, the board was responsible, and when I talk about the board, I'm writing notes about what those 6 people did, including Reverend Cynthia 7, selecting and orienting the search team. And here's to the search team. Will those of you who were on the search team stand up and be counted? Tracy is standing up. Charles, Jack, Michael, Tracy in the booth. Reverend, wasn't there one other member who's not? Oh, Dan, I'm sorry, I didn't look to the right. Dan was represented the board. Pamela Haynes, who could not be here this afternoon. Thank you again. Good job of looking, vetting, and recommending. We salute you. Thank you. The screening of the meeting, the inviting of the candidates. And I want to compliment the congregation for hearing, loving, and appreciating the 3 candidates that we had come. And especially, I want to compliment us all for our decision on our final choice. What a delight. And I want to throw in my personal note that today's lesson, I'd already sealed the deal, my judgment, my opinion, my desire and delight that you're here, but in my heart, I wept and cheered at your lesson today, so I thank you very, very, very much. The next item was finances. And finances, all of which Greg has shared with you, except one thing, and that was, he mentioned the 30-30-30 campaign in which we collected and had matched that 30,000 above and beyond to the tune of the total take there was 80,000 plus. Joni was a driver of those finances for 30-30-30. Kudos to you. Thank you very, very much. That's it on finances. Greg gave you plenty of details, and he is always good to give follow-up information. If you want to call him, I'll give you his number. Loretta just gaped. Next is policy. I'm pleased that we spent a tremendous amount of time, and Reverend Cynthia got us started in recognizing there were certain amounts of policy, certain policy items that we should indeed document. We began with a couple of action teams at the start of 2025. One was developing a code of conduct. One was building a conflict resolution policy. One was direct communication policy. And the direct communication policy is simply specific to the board in that before we bring anything to the board, we make sure that it is indeed validated information. Hearing something and bringing it secondhand to the board is a no-go according to this policy. And it's been easy to some degree for us to implement. I expect that it will be even easier with experience for future boards to implement. Board staff interaction. The relationship between the board and the staff of Unity Church of the Hills is a precious, precious thing because the staff is a precious, precious, precious entity. And how the staff is given its opportunity to do all that it can do, and the board in an overseeing governance way without intervening in that required a policy. And I am proud of the one that Reverend Cynthia primarily drafted. The board did some tweaking on then and approved 2 meetings ago. Disruptive behavior, something that we hope never happens, but if and when it does occur in the church, at a service, any time like that, we need a policy to deal with it so that we remain safe and above board and in line with all of the necessary jurisdictions and legal issues, et cetera. And so those policies, not a lot of excitement to talk about, but a lot of accomplishment, my sense, by the board. And I appreciate your involvement and investment in that. Thank you. Finally, this place, this wonderful spiritual home, this wonderful facility that we live and work in. A number of things happened. If you look up, you can see speakers that are no longer taking space here on the platform, but are overhead. If the lighting is all on, and when it is all on, all of the lighting is now much, much, much brighter and more effective to the stage than it was in the past. Should have polished. My apologies. The lighting that was involved replacing 16 existing lights in the sanctuary that were 14 years old, and 2 had already burned out. The new lights provide a brighter wash over the entire space, color changing capabilities. You can see the benefit from this. The education wing enhancement, if you haven't walked down the hall to the end, basically to the YFM office, you haven't seen the wonderful work that's been done to the floor. It is magnificent. I almost want to do an Anaya and take my shoes off and walk barefoot down the hall. It is so wonderfully comfortable. And then there was indeed a lot of painting and redoing of classrooms 133, 135, 137, and 139. And it's worth taking a peek in because the use of those classrooms is returned to us, to the way in which those rooms were used when I first became a member at Unity Church of the Hills 18 years ago. I am delighted by that. And then what I keep being told by some that maybe the most important thing to have been done was the painting of the women's restroom. I don't remember who it was that wanted me to do that. The new stalls, that's what it was. See, I've never been there to see that, so how should I know? New stalls, I compliment you on that. It has been a wonderful year to work with these members of the board, and it has been a wonderful 3 years to serve Unity Church of the Hills. It's been interesting that several people have thanked me or complimented me or just sympathized with me for having served. Only one or two have said that I had done my time and that how would I feel leaving today. I feel delighted both because I got to serve and because I get to finish my serving now. It has been a wonderful 3 years, but if anybody wants my board president and is willing to change their name to Tim Wright, I will give you mine. Thank you all very, very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm turning it over to Joni, who was eagerly thinking that I might miss my cue.
The tall people. Stepping up here. You've heard, we've acknowledged Tim and Neil quite a bit, and I just want to make it official. Because they're, yes. It is one, all I have to say beyond what we've already acknowledged these wonderful beings for is that they have served not just on this board, which is enough, they have served during a pivotal time in the history of Unity Church of the Hills. It is significant. And for Neil, I just want to affirm you. Charles, would you, the small bag is for Neil, and the two gifts are for, the other two are for Tim. Would you give those to them for now? And Neil's capacity to have made it possible for the rest of us to see the search through and to do it methodically, appropriately, and in the way that only an engineer could make made David possible. So thank you, Neil, for all that you have done, for the many, many, many years you have been here. We love you so much. And Neil has served with willingness and enthusiasm and commitment. And that brings us to Tim, who said he'd be president and was willing to do that during some tumultuous times. During serious transition, he stood for this church. He stood for who we are, and he saw it through. And yes, we talk a lot. I understand intimately what challenges he was faced with, and he is an honor to work with and support. So we appreciate you, Tim. So glad you stepped forward, and we love you.
That felt good. That really did feel good. Thank you. Didn't it, Neil? It did. I've asked Neil a number of times if he's having any postpartum depression, and he said, about what? That's good enough. That's good enough. Actually, what we're going to do now is install the new board. So Neil and I will sacrifice our seats. Kay and Charles, will you take these? And I'm turning it over to Reverend David.
So I'm going to invite you all to stand, actually, if you're willing to do that, as we do a short installation. Not all of you, I'm sorry, these people. You can sit down. I was talking to these folks. We're going to do a short installation for this board, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and I would invite you, if you're willing and ready to say I will, to respond with I will. Okay? We wish to have every board member of the Board of Trustees reply to these statements as a covenant. This is your covenant to serve full scale as a member of the Unity Church of the Hills Board of Trustees 2026. Will you endeavor to live in accordance with the Unity principles? Will you demonstrate leadership qualities such as impartiality, sound judgment, communication skills, and leading by example? Will you display financial commitment to this ministry? Will you further the work of this ministry through your active participation, love, and support? Will you be a sincere and continuing student of Unity, conversant with its teachings? We bless you and congratulate you as our Board of Trustees for 2026. Thank you.
Neil's going to pray us out, and then I will adjourn us.
All right, let's just slip into a quiet place and just relax into your pew. And we just let go and we let God. We express gratitude, and we feel a sense of gratitude for everything that has come before us, each and every person who has contributed to Unity Church of the Hills over the decades to bring us to the place where we are today. We give thanks for Reverend David for answering the call. We give thanks to the staff who tirelessly work every day, every week, sustaining this organization. We give thanks to the board. We give thanks to all the volunteers and the congregants who make up this spiritual community. We are so grateful for one another, to have one another, a community of choice, a spiritual community where we see the highest and best in each and every one of us. And as we look forward, we ask, Holy Spirit, God, what is mine to do? How can I serve my community? How can I exemplify the vision, the mission, the core values that make up who we are? And today, for this joyful time together, this time of connection and celebration for all that Unity Church of the Hills is, we are grateful, and we say amen.
Thank you, Neil. If there is no further business, this meeting of the Unity Church of the Hills membership is adjourned.